Hello and welcome to the third instalment of the CAFPA Diversity and Inclusion Interview Spotlight Series. With over 2 decades in the finance industry, both in commercial and residential, Sean Breen has held senior leadership roles in sales, customer service, product support, and change management. Now operating his own brokerage firm, Sean is passionate about assisting his customers and abides by a simple philosophy: listen, understand, and assist. Welcome to our series, Sean.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Excellent. You started your brokerage firm, Conquer Finance, about 7 years ago.
Yep.
But what actually got you into finance in the first place?
Well, it's a good story actually. No, it's goes back a long way. When I was 19 and trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do, I was studying business accounting at the time and applied for a job at a bank and was lucky enough to get a teller position at the National Australia Bank, and God forbid that's almost 30 years ago. And so I got into the bank with the expectation of working there while I figured out what I wanted to do. And at that time, I actually discovered a job I really loved, which then turned into a career. And I worked my way through all the different various levels that NAB had, and ended up staying for 22 years. So it sort of worked out quite well in the end. And it's funny how things that you don't expect end up being some of the best things in life.
I think that's very true. The unexpected can often turn into the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, exactly.
So you spent 22 years at the NAB, and what do you believe from your experience with working with leaders within the NAB, how is best the culture created for diversity and inclusion within those large organisations?
Yeah, it's leadership is really, really important to have strong leaders in every organisation, and culture is one of those funny things. It's like trying to describe what a room smells like. And often it's hard to put your finger on it. So I think in a basic sense that for me, culture is about the good behaviours you reward, but also a combination of the poor behaviours that you don't address. And I think diversity and inclusion is a massive part of that, is that if you have a diverse and inclusive team, then that will be reflected in the culture that you cultivate within that team. So it's absolutely paramount to success is having that is having leadership play a huge role in that diversity and inclusion piece.
Whilst you were at the NAB, you and your team had a fairly confronting experience which led to your involvement with the Sacred Heart mission.
Yep.
Can you share that with us?
Yeah, we had a period of time where at the business centre that I was working at, we had a homeless man was sleeping in the car park underneath the building, which was an unfortunate situation and was actually quite confronting for a number of people within the team. And I'd actually volunteered with Sacred Heart Mission before that, so I was aware of the issues surrounding homelessness and these things. So seeing the different reactions from different people within the team, we took the opportunity to get Sacred Heart Mission to come and talk to us about homelessness and help us as a team understand the different challenges that people face in everyday life that was very different to the experiences that most of us had. You know, we all sort of live pretty privileged lives, and so to have that for some people was quite confronting, and but it was also really powerful. So we then had the team volunteer at Sacred Heart to really get involved and really see the impact of what homelessness has on our society, and that sort of just grew from there. And I really was keen to get more involved with the organisation and just to help out. And it didn't have to be anything too big. I just wanted to do something. And through talking to them, it started with just making a donation of chocolates at Christmas and Easter. which we started to do as a small team, and that's sort of just grown and grown. And 11, 12 years later, I'm still doing it, and people are still supporting it, and that's just become a part of their requirements each year, and so it's really pleasing to still be able to help them along that way. So yeah, it's I don't know if that's what you want. I've lost track of what I'm saying.
It's sometimes really the simplest things, isn't it, that actually can make a really big impact on other people's lives. So based on all your experience with volunteering and fundraising, what advice would you give to someone who would like to do something but has no idea where to start or how to start?
Yeah, great question. Because people often ask me how do you do something that's so big, and it's actually not as big as what it looks like from the outside. So my advice is people just have to start. You just have to start with doing one thing, and it can be the smallest thing, as long as it's impactful and it makes a difference. And you come back to that question of leadership, that people will follow those things. So the more of us that do one small thing, then that builds into lots of small things, and then lots of small things become big things. It doesn't have to be a big grand gesture that either costs a lot of money or takes a lot of time for it to have impact on people. So for a lot of people, it's the simple things that it mean the most to them. So you just need to keep it simple and do something quite small but quite impactful. And it's starting and then being consistent. And that's the other part, is you need to be consistent. You can't create something by just doing it once. You need to do it over and over and over again and be consistent, because then that leads to being reliable. And then that's what people value. They value small things that have impact that they can rely on. And I think that's kind of the philosophy I've always tried to maintain, and the support we provide Sacred Heart, I haven't tried to make it something that it's not either. I've kept it simple, impactful, reliable, and that's kind of grown from there. So back to the question of what advice, you just got to start with something. That's all.
And I guess reaching out to a charity and asking them, you know, what could you do to help is because they know what will work for them. And,
that's right.
It would be different from all different charities.
And that's such a good point, because what we think is helpful may not be helpful. Well, it's helpful, but it may not be exactly what that organisation needs. So go and ask them, what do you need? Because it's about them, it's not about you. And those sorts of behaviours over the years have just held it in good stead, I suppose.
Oh, good. That's excellent. Getting back to Cathbar, the membership is very much, there are a lot of broker firms that are under 5 brokers. And what we're sort of trying to look at is what strategies that you might be able to share with them, and how they can bring all their employees in to feel like they're all equally valued within the organisation, and how you do it within small teams.
I think, it starts with being open to not always being right.
Okay.
It's probably the first thing. So, as a business owner, I think if you surround yourself with the right people, then those people will often have the answers that might be better than your answer. So I think the first thing you've got to do is be respectful of people's opinion. You've got to listen to what other people are telling you, even if it is in contrast to what you think it might be. Because there's a lot of different ways to do things, and my way is not always the right way. So often people within small teams can have really good ideas that then have a lot of impact because you're a small team. They don't feel as though their idea is minuscule because the team's so big. I think that their ideas might be more impactful because the team is so small. But I think as a leader, you've got to provide them a safe environment to be able to share their ideas and come forward and speak up without any judgment, without any fear, and actually just get things out and then decide together what the best way forward is.
So it's an open door kind of
Absolutely.
policy for everybody
Yeah,
within
absolutely.
the organisation.
Yeah.
So how do you stay informed of the best practices for D&I, and how do you implement them?
Or CAFPA, of course.
Yeah, of course.
No, but look, CAFPA's communications and in industry forums and aggregator communication is the way to keep on top of that diversity inclusion. And the other thing I like to do is talk to other business owners as well and catch up with other people in the industry, whether it's BDMs or aggregator partnership managers or other brokers, and understand, well, what are you doing that's working? Because we don't all have to have original ideas. You can steal other people's ideas. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then implement them in your own business and see if it works or if it doesn't. Or so I find those places are the best place to get that sort of information and stay on top of it. Especially business owners, like they're the ones that really, they've got the tried and tested opportunities that they've gone through, and it builds resilience, I think, having a go at things.
Yeah, why reinvent the wheel if someone has got a bit of an idea?
Exactly.
You can implement it.
Yeah. If you can't unlock the door, steal the keys.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So can you provide an example of diversity and inclusion that you've used within your business and is what's helped with your team and your customers?
Yeah, I think a small example is having employees that are different to me. So having employees that are younger, different gender, different background, just bring different ideas and they see the world differently.
Yes.
Because the older I get, the more set in my ways I become. And so having that diversity of the team is what helps remind me that things have changed and things are different, and they're more relatable to people of their demographic as well than what I am. And so I think by having a group of diverse people, you kind of cover more bases, and you get a greater understanding and a deeper understanding of what makes people tick, and then that can help you with how you interact with them, how you deliver solutions for them, whatever it might be, whatever your engagement might be. It's all about education and being educated yourself to then implement that and hopefully make a difference.
Yeah, having an understanding of the needs of the different demographics and age groups and generations and stuff like that, isn't it?
So don't employ 5 of the same type of people.
Yes,
I guess is what I'm saying.
The key,
because you're going to end up with 5 of the same ideas, and it's going to be, you're just going to keep going in a circle. So you need that diverse background to help, to help provide diverse thoughts and diverse opportunities and solutions.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, which really sort of leads into my final question, which is about why you believe diversity and inclusion is so important in the commercial and asset finance space.
Well, for that, so exactly what I just said, in having that, that diversity of thought and solutions and just approaching things differently, and also it's reflective of our client base.
Yes.
So there's a lot more, if we use gender as an example, there's a lot more female business owners today than there were 20 years ago when I was a business banker. So it's very different. So being able to relate to them is very different to a male business owner.
Yes.
And I think the more diverse business we have, then the better the perception is of that business as well. So we're all reflective of each other. So if we were all the same, life would be pretty boring for a start. But I think diverse businesses attract diverse businesses. And there's not many business owners that I know who are one-dimensional.
No.
They're very diverse, and they they have multiple dimensions to their business, and their people are very different. So most successful businesses have diverse people in their business because it drives a better outcome at the end of the day.
And their lives outside of business are probably equally as diverse. Too, as
exactly.
well. Yeah.
You come across all sorts of people.
You do.
All the time.
You do, which is wonderful.
It is.
Yeah. Sean, thank you so much for
It's all right.
taking the time today to meet with us and to share your insights and your experiences. And on behalf of everyone at CAFBA, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.